The Assassin's Creed Shadows parkour has way more depth than I first thought. We got brand new gameplay and details. I will go over everything in this video. For one, we can now chain dodges into parkour moves. So these acrobatic moves we've seen Naue do in the footage, it's actually something you can trigger. Like here on this rooftop, dodge before reaching the edge, and Naue will actually go down in a very stylish way. So simply holding down the parkour button in Shadows is not the most optimal way to navigate the environment anymore, which means there's a bit more skill involved. And we learned about fun tricks you can do, like standing with your back near the edge, do the parkour down button without any direction, and then you will actually do a backwards dodge to land quietly on the ground, and they can perform an assassination on an unaware target. And also, when doing a parkour down move while you are at a very high structure that would cause you to take fall damage, your character will instead just hold onto that ledge and hang there. Now, what about fall damage? I thought in Assassin's Creed Odyssey it was really a blessing that we had no fall damage, so you could do insane jumps from high points without issue after reaching level 20. But of course, Shadows goes for a more grounded approach, so fall damage is back, and it seems to work similar to Valhalla and Mirage more recently, where with the break fall skill unlocked, you could do a more professional roll when you hit the ground. So in Shadows, you also have to press a button, either the dodge or parkour down button, when landing from great heights to do a so-called Egan recovery roll. This will negate damage and actually also reduce your sound. Like, we actually have to be more careful when climbing around in a camp, as some actions create more noise than others. Again, there's way more depth, so lots more to go over. A like on the video would of course be awesome, so thanks for that, and subscribe to not miss any Assassin's Creed Shadows content. But first, you can win a $5,000 gift card, game console or smartphone, and way more prizes for a limited time, and it's very easy to participate. Simply download Raid Shadow Legends, who are sponsoring this video. You have to do it through my link in the video description, or scan the QR code that you see on screen, and then you have 24 hours to head to this URL. We'll also link to it in the video description. Type in your raid ID, help Santa, for a chance to win the many prizes. As you might know, I've been playing Raid a lot, especially now that Wukong is added. It's a ton of fun to use him against the many bosses that we find in the game, and we of course, like here on the channel, never lock things behind the paywall or ask money in other ways. So if you want to support the channel in any way, then it would be really helpful to give the sponsor a shot. Which in this case means simply click the link in the description, scan the QR code, play Raid for free, try it out, see if you like it. And then you also get a starter pack with a really powerful champion, Ugo, and after reaching level 15, you get epic champion Vayne for your team. You can also find me under JorRaptor and join my clan if you want. Thanks to Raid for sponsoring the video, makes everything possible here, and now let's get back into it. One important thing to know is that they switched the dodge and crouch button around, as you can see in this new image. So crouch is now X or square on PS5, while if you want to dodge out of the way, you have to press B or circle. So one of the reasons for this change is that first, for example, crouching near the edge could mean that you would go down without really wanting to. Now these actions are tied to different buttons. And yes, there are totally more interesting things going on in that controller image. I'll get back to that. But first, remember that jump out of the window from the gameplay reveal? Well, you also do this by actively dodging towards the window. And sprinting has also changed. For one, Naue is the fastest assassin to date on her feet. So with a sprint, she can easily gain distance or catch up to a target, while Yasuke needs a bit longer to get up to speed. In this new gameplay, we for one see a really cool camp and also a unique new feature for Naue. Namely the ability to sprint dodge, which lets you quickly jump over objects that are slightly smaller than her, and while in this animation you also avoid incoming damage, so it's a great tactic to avoid projectiles from ranged enemies. Now, good to note is that when sprinting and not dodging, you will still automatically go over these objects with acrobatic moves, but you will not have that invincibility window. So getting that dodge under control is way smarter to avoid damage. Now Yasuke will also be able to pass over low and non-destructible objects, but his default sprint move is the shoulder bash that we saw before. So simply sprint, get some speed, and then you can blast your way through destructible objects that would block Naue. The knee slide from Valhalla and Mirage had it as well is back for both Naue and Yasuke, which causes you to immediately go into a crouch. And as you can see, you can also hold the crouch button and then you go into prone, and just like in Metal Gear, you can sprint, hold down the crouch button, and then your character will do this jump, so you are immediately in the prone position and can like crawl around. And one of the things that jumped out in the controller menu is the return of the quick throw. In Mirage, we could of course use tools again, but you had to aim the throwing knife in order to use it. But in Shadows, when you select a tool with the D-pad, Naue will hold it. So it seems like you can then also quickly throw it with RB or R1, which is in particular nice for the shuriken that are mostly designed to interrupt enemies. We see that instead of light attack, it's called regular attack, and heavy attack is the alternate attack, and we can of course charge up both, so hold the button to do a posture attack and remove armor plates from the enemies. But maybe the most interesting is ally abilities. In my previous video that I will link to at the end of this one, I told you about special characters. There should be 6 of them in total. We can bring 1 or 2 with us and then summon them to help us out during an encounter, similar to the call to arms from Odyssey. But yeah, it seems like they have abilities as well that we can command them to activate, meaning they are likely way more helpful than what we saw in Odyssey. And yes, we also see that we can use the grapple hook with LB or L1 on PS5, and one of the activities in the game are these hidden parkour challenges in the mountains, where we also sometimes have to chain multiple grapple hook swings together without touching the ground. So a fun, non-combat activity, and by completing these, we should actually unfold some mysteries, but Ubisoft did not want to spoil the mysteries yet. You can use the grapple hook, by the way, onto any horizontal rooftop ledge, and then in this case ascend up to get up to the roof, or you can descend down if you want. And while using the rope, you can switch between 2 modes. If you press the grapple hook button once, you will be able to swing, and if you then press it again, you will be able to ascend or descend again. And while swinging, you can decide the direction and the momentum, which increases or decreases the distance of your jump. A big change in Shadows versus the recent games is that Naue and Yasuke will not be able to climb on surfaces that do not have physical handholds for them to grab onto. This was of course a huge change that started in Origins, and even Mirage lets you climb large mountains freely without obvious handholds. So it seems like they will do more of a Horizon approach, where you have to climb the dedicated pathways designed by the developers to get higher up. And some of these pathways can only be used with Naue and not with Yasuke. Now, all the recent games did of course have these unclimbable castle walls, which are back in Shadows, but as you can see, Naue can simply wall run a bit and then pull out the grapple hook to still climb these high walls. But as I said earlier, there's another important aspect to all this, and that's namely the fact that especially parkouring up now generates a fair amount of sound when climbing, jumping and landing. So it's smart to keep that in mind when going for a stealthy run, while parkouring down creates minimal sound, so it does work better for a silent approach. Again, it really seems that stealth has been taken to the next level, with many new things that you have to think about and that you can also use to remain in the shadows. Totally subscribe and hit the bell notification to not miss any Assassin's Creed Shadows content. We got way more coming your way. A like would of course really help me out, and check out Raid again in the pinned comment. That would support the channel. And you can watch that previous video by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you very soon. Goodbye.